Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Global. We'll get you top stories from India and the region. I am Tanvi Taneja, and for news from the rest of the world, I'm joined by my colleague from Washington, D.C., Nick Harper. Hi, Nick.
Good morning, Tanvi. It's 10 a.m. here in Washington, D.C. It's 3 in the afternoon across Central Europe. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, pushing for a ceasefire, mediators urge Israel and Gaza to agree to the end to hostilities. And a date for your diary. Donald Trump and Kamala Harris agree to their first debate. It'll be taking place next month. But first, the headlines.
Meeting with the country's Security Council. This is on fighting terrorism amid Ukraine's incursion running on to fourth day. Hamas yet to respond to Israel's offer on resuming ceasefire talks after renewed diplomatic push by the United States, Egypt and Qatar. Air India suspends operations to and from Tel Aviv. Sheikh Hasina will return to Bangladesh if the interim government decides to hold elections, informs her son. India constitutes a committee to monitor the situation on the Indo-Bangladesh border. And Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump and his Democratic opponent Kamala Harris set up their first face-to-face debate on September 10th on the ABC network. Russian President Vladimir Putin chaired an operational meeting with the permanent members of Russia's Security Council with an agenda to fight terrorism. Russian forces have taken over a village near Pokrovsk in eastern Ukraine. Pokrovsk is a transport hub and serves as an important supply route to other towns under Ukrainian government control. Now, in the latest on the conflict, multiple attacks were reported on both sides. Russian artillery hit a supermarket in the eastern Ukrainian town, killing at least 10 and injuring 24 others. The attack comes after Ukrainian military attacked a Russian military airfield in the Lipetsk region of southern Russia, damaging guided bomb stockpiles. A state of emergency was declared in Lipetsk municipal district as 9 were injured and power supply was disrupted. In the Kursk region, fighting is ongoing where the Kursk nuclear plant is located. Moscow is transferring extra forces in response to Ukrainian incursion running into the fourth day, I beg your pardon. DD India's Dasha Chernyshova reports from Moscow for more.
Russia is sending reinforcements to the Kursk region. The Ministry of Defense has released videos of Grad MLRs, columns, artillery, tanks, all sent to the border region to repel the Ukrainian incursion. It also confirmed that the Ukrainian military were not allowed deeper into the Russian territory. Moscow says Ukraine lost up to 945 servicemen, 102 armored vehicles, including 12 tanks, 17 armored personnel carriers, 6 infantry fighting vehicles since Tuesday morning on the Kursk direction. The MOD also said that Russia's Su-34 launched an FAB-3000 bomb at a concentration of the Ukrainian Armed Forces personnel and equipment in the Sumy region that borders Kursk. The emergency ministry declared the situation in Kursk a federal emergency. Thousands of civilians have been evacuated from the region. Local authorities say those affected will receive additional financial assistance. Russian authorities say they repelled over 75 Ukrainian drones overnight, including in Lipetsk region, where they say an energy infrastructure object has been hit. Dasha Chernyshova reporting in Moscow for DD India.
On to West Asia now. Air India on Friday alerted that it is suspending operations to and from Tel Aviv, Israel, with immediate effect till further notice. This was amid a massive spike in geopolitical tensions in the region. In a tweet, Air India wrote that the situation is being continuously monitored, and full refund to the passengers with confirmed bookings will be provided. It has also shared contact numbers for help. These are 011 69 329 333 and 011 69 32 9999. So following the assassination of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh and Iran's promised response to it, the fears of serious escalation in the region continue to rise. But attempts are being made to diffuse tensions between Israel and Hamas. My colleague Nick Harper is in Washington, D.C. He gives us more on these renewed diplomatic efforts and other stories making headlines around the world. So Nick, U.S. again at the forefront of this renewed diplomatic push to resume talks?
Well, Tanvi, yes, another attempt for diplomacy here, and Israel has agreed to send negotiators to the proposed talks, which are now penciled in for the 15th of August in Doha or Cairo. Hamas, however, is yet to respond. Backed by the US, Egypt and Qatar, the talks are aimed at reaching a Gaza ceasefire and hostage release deal. The renewed diplomatic push will be seen as an attempt to stop regional conflict from spiralling out of control after Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh was assassinated last week. Iran, blaming Israel, has vowed a response, though Israel has not commented directly on the killing. Meanwhile, US Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has held a phone call with Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant. In it, it was discussed the situation in West Asia, and in his social media post, Austin said that the US F-22 Raptors that arrived in the region on Thursday represent one of many efforts to deter aggression, defend Israel, and protect US forces in the region. Well, all of that as smoke was visible at the Lebanon-Israel border on Friday after fresh sirens blared out and flares filled the sky over the southern village by Lebanon's border. Conflict has intensified in the region since Hezbollah commander Fawad Shukra was killed by Israel in the capital, Beirut. Well, to give us more on this, we're joined by DD India's Trent Murray. He's live for us in Beirut. Trent, we've seen more cross-border fire today between Israel and Hezbollah. What can you tell us?
Yeah, that's right, Nick. The Israeli Defense Force saying Hezbollah fired 15 rockets into northern Israel. Now, it says most of them were able to be intercepted by the Iron Dome defense system, but 2 did actually touch down in one of the cities in the north. No reports of injuries, but there was some damage on the ground. Now, the Israelis are also saying that they launched their own drone strikes, killing 2 Hezbollah commanders. Hezbollah has not confirmed the deaths, but this has just been another day of this cross-border fire, which, as you rightly mentioned, has been intensifying since the killing of Fawad Shukra, that senior military commander, right here in Beirut last week. Now, Hezbollah really is one of probably the strongest proxy group in that so-called Iranian axis of resistance. It's thought they possess a missile arsenal in the hundreds of thousands, and they are vowing to respond in a big way to what Israel did here last week. What that response looks like, we are still not sure. They remain tight-lipped, but certainly many diplomats in this region are concerned that it could bring about a major war between Lebanon and Israel. For that reason, governments continuing to warn their citizens to leave. Long lines at Beirut International Airport. And Nick, there are reports today that a number of Lebanese supermarkets are seeing runs on essential supplies like rice, flour and baby diapers. Seemingly many here concerned that war could indeed be coming.
Trent, thank you. That was Trent Murray joining us live from Beirut. Well, next today, 2 rioters have been sentenced at Leeds Crown Court over their roles in recent disorder after a wave of riots hit the United Kingdom. The riots have targeted immigrants and ethnic minorities over the past 2 weeks. The country still remains on high alert for possible further unrest over the weekend, Prime Minister Keir Starmer has called on police officers to remain vigilant and be ready for any potential unrest.
I think it's really important that we maintain high alert. I've obviously been here at the control room of the Met looking at what's essentially the nerve centre, but my message to the police and all of those that are charged with responding to disorder is maintain that high alert. I'm absolutely convinced that having the police officers in place these last few days in the right places, the swift justice that's being dispensed in our courts have had a real impact. But we have to stay on high alert going into this weekend because we absolutely have to make sure that our communities are safe.
And for more on it, DD India's correspondent Ollie Barrett sent us this report from London.
The Prime Minister is trying to make sure that complacency doesn't creep in from his government or indeed from police or the British public by saying that police will remain on high alert over the coming days. Part of that is related to it being the weekend, and that's often when protests can take place. Part of it's also related to the start of the English football season, which could mean that fans are gathering at times and in places which may potentially lead to disorder. But police chiefs say they do have enough resources. They will have many hundreds of extra officers on standby if they are required. The other thing that the Prime Minister is signalling is that he is at least open to the idea that online safety legislation currently making its way through Parliament may well have to be amended in the light of what we've seen in the UK in recent days to make it tougher to try and stop the spread, for example, of misinformation and disinformation and incitement to violence online. Although the Prime Minister does point out that even on Friday we are seeing sentencing for online activities related to the riots. So he points out that there are powers already in place to deal with some of what has been taking place. But thousands of police officers, again on duty over the course of the weekend, the Prime Minister very much hoping that there won't be any further disorder, but at the same time trying to avoid complacency. Ollie Barrett in London, reporting for DD India.
Moving now to South America, and Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro has blocked social media site X, formerly known as Twitter, for 10 days, saying that it was used to incite violence during the elections. Maduro won a third term in the election, but the opposition is claiming victory. That erupted in protests in the country and was largely promoted on social media, with calls for Maduro to step down. Earlier this week, the president also asked his supporters to abandon the messaging app WhatsApp. Here in the US, the latest Ipsos poll published on Thursday shows Democrat Kamala Harris leading Republican Donald Trump 42% to 37%. In the US presidential race, the presidential debate between Trump and Harris will be held on September the 10th on ABC. Trump has demanded additional debates, though, on September the 4th and September the 25th. Those, he says, would air on Fox and NBC.
I think it's very important to have debates, and we've agreed with Fox on a date of September 4th. We've agreed with NBC, fairly full agreement subject to them, on September 10th, and we've agreed with ABC on September 25th. So we have those three dates, and those networks, they're very anxiously awaiting that date and those dates. So we have September 4th, September 10th, and September 25th.
Meanwhile, Kamala Harris has confirmed that she will be appearing for that ABC debate on September the 10th and says she looks forward to debating her rival Donald Trump.
Well, I'm glad that he's finally agreed to a debate on September 10th. I'm looking forward to it and hope he shows up.
Are you open to more debate?
I am happy to have that conversation about an additional debate for after September 10th, for sure.
Well, a date for your diary there, Tanvi. It should be a big one. That's it from me here in Washington, handing it back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Nick. Nick Harper joining us all from Washington, D.C. You're watching DD India Global, still to come on the show. Former Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan and his wife Bushra Bibi's remand extended by 11 days in the fresh Toshakhana case. And a look at how India is gearing up to celebrate its maiden National Space Day on August 23rd, the date when India became the first country to land on the south pole of the moon last year.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Global. I am Tanvi Taneja. Now, after the successful completion of official engagements in New Zealand's capital, Wellington, India's President Draupadi Murmu addressed the members of the Indian community in Auckland on Friday. Speaking at the event, President Murmu said that India is proud of its diaspora in New Zealand, adding that the Indian diaspora is seen as an important contributor towards a developed India. The President lauded the Indian community for their role in strengthening India-New Zealand ties. The President also announced opening an Indian consulate in Auckland.
कि हम जल्द ही ऑकलैंड में एक कॉन्सुलेट खुलेंगे। जिसका उद्देश्य यहाँ बसे हमारे प्रवासी भारतीयों की लंबे समय से चली आ रही मांग को पूरा करना है। मुझे विश्वास है कि ये न्यूजीलैंड के साथ हमारे डिप्लोमेटिक संबंधों को और बढ़ाने में प्रमुख भूमिका निभाएगा।
Speaking about the Indian nationals in the Russian army in the lower house of parliament, India's External Affairs Minister today reiterated that under Prime Minister Narendra Modi's leadership, India is committed to bring back the stranded 69 nationals from Russia.
What is the status of discussions between us and the Russian government? I think it would be fair to say that after the Prime Minister himself has taken up the matter with the Russian President and the Russian President has himself given an assurance, we should not jump the gun and say the Russians are not serious on this matter. I think it is important to hold the Russian government to their word. It is for us most important. We are not here to score points or to enter into debates. We are here to get back those 69 people because Indian citizens should not be serving in the army of foreign countries.
The minister also said that the trafficking issue is being handled by India's Central Bureau of Investigation, CBI, and the government is taking the issue very, very seriously.
People who are involved in the trafficking, sir, we will have to go by what the CBI inquiry has told us, because that is evidence, that is what is legally permissible. We have 19 people, including, sir, some of the names that the Honourable Member had referred to. In each case, the inquiries are going on. In many cases, the prosecution is going on. So I can assure the Honourable Member through you, sir, that we take this very, very seriously.
The External Affairs Minister informed the lower house of India's parliament that out of those 91 Indians recruited by the Russian army, 8 have died while in service with the Russian armed forces. Moving on, India achieved a historic feat in space sector on August 23, 2023, when it became the first country to land on moon's South Pole. Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced August 23rd as the National Space Day, hence to honour this achievement. India's Defence Research and Development Organisation, DRDO, organised Antariksha Shakti, that's the power of space, a run-up event to India's maiden National Space Day. DD India's Siddharth Bhardwaj reports.
No one in the world knew how it was to land on the south pole of the lunar surface, but India made it possible. On August 23, 2023, India achieved a historic milestone when Vikram lander from Chandrayaan-3 successfully landed on the south pole of the moon and unlocked new avenues of scientific discovery and exploration. To honor this landmark achievement, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced August 23 as National Space Day.
23 अगस्त को जब भारत ने चंद्रमा पर तिरंगा फहराया, उस दिन को अब हिंदुस्तान नेशनल स्पेस डे के रूप में मनाया जाएगा.
In the run-up to this momentous day, the Defence Research and Development Organisation organised an event titled Antariksh Shakti in New Delhi. This event showcased India's remarkable achievements in space technology and its growing defence capabilities. Secretary DD-R&D and Chairman DRDO, Dr. Samir V. Kawat, spoke on Chandrayaan-3's success and India's rapid advancements in the space sector.
It was a proud moment for the nation, and it has made envy of all the nations in the world. So indeed, it's a very creditable achievement, and Honorable Prime Minister has made it as a National Space Day. And this event we are doing in the run-up to the National Space Day.
Alongside the event, an exhibition was held highlighting cutting-edge technologies poised to drive India's future technological advancements. Chandrayaan-3's success marks a monumental leap in India's space journey and is undoubtedly a game-changer for the nation's future space missions. Siddharth Bharadwaj's report for DD India.
Now, with the ongoing developments in India's neighbouring nation of Bangladesh, the Indian government has constituted a committee to monitor the current situation on the Indo-Bangladesh border. The committee will maintain communication channels with their counterpart authorities in Bangladesh to ensure safety and security of Indian nationals, Hindus and other minority communities living there. The committee will be headed by ADG Border Security Force Eastern Command. Now, former Bangladesh's Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's son, Sajib Wazid Joy, has assured that Sheikh Hasina will return to the country if the new interim government decides to hold elections there. Though her participation in the elections has not been confirmed yet, Hasina was forced to resign as Prime Minister and left the country on Monday after weeks of violent protests that killed many. Staying in the region, an accountability court extended physical remand of former Prime Minister and Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf founder Imran Khan and his wife Bushra Bibi by 11 days in a new Tosha Khana case. The National Accountability Bureau NAB investigating officer Mohsin Haroon appeared along with Deputy Prosecutor General Sardar Muzaffar before the court and requested the judge to grant a 14-day remand to Imran Khan and Bushra Bibi. However, the court approved the physical remand and adjourned the hearing till August the 19th. And next we take a look at other stories making news around the world. After weather forecasting website indicated that temperature could cross 40 degrees Celsius this weekend in Rome, tourists are seeking ways to stay cool by staying in shade and drinking fresh water. The heat wave, accompanied by high humidity, will hit cities across Italy on Saturday and Sunday and will last till August the 15th. Hundreds of Taylor Swift fans called Swifties gathered in Vienna singing her songs after the singer's concert was cancelled due to a security threat. The fans gathered there shared their disappointment after most of them had spent several $1,000s for the trip. Japan commemorated the 79th anniversary of the deadly atomic bombing of Nagasaki during the Second World War. A moment of silence was observed to honor the victims in an annual ceremony and was attended by representatives from around the world.
内閣総理大臣額賀福志郎様、参議院議長。
Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombings, a reminder to us all that the solution does not lie in war. That's all for this edition of DD India Global. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. Connect with us on our different social media handles, Facebook, X, that's Twitter and Instagram at DD India Live. And for those on the go, you can catch all the latest news and updates from India and the world on our DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. So we will be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja from my entire team in New Delhi and elsewhere around the world. Thank you for watching DD India Global. Namaskar.